Well, hello. Welcome back, or welcome to, depending on which applies. If you're new here, basically what I do is I watch a movie, I sit down here and I ramble on like an idiot with no script and next to no editing. And we're trying to take things in one take, keep it natural. That's the point of this channel. So, what did I just watch today? I watched this little gem here. I don't know where it is in the thing, but anyway, Hyenas from 2011. Yes, there we go. Cool. This movie is pretty much ripped apart universally on pretty much every critique site there is. So clearly I had to take a look, right? Had to. So we'll get into it. Spoiler alert, you know the drill. If you don't want the movie spoiled, you can skip ahead on a little timestamp thingy to the part that says thoughts or rating, whichever you would want to see. If you don't want to hear my thoughts and you just want to see if my rating aligns, you can do that. Anyway, let us begin. So, werehyenas. That's what we're dealing with here. We start the film, we got a woman driving in a car, she's on the phone with her husband. It's a lovely, wonderful situation. She's going to visit him, baby's in the backseat, fantastic, right? She has some creepy guys in a car behind her, really hugging her tail there and driving up beside her and looking at her all creepy and speeding off tonight. She's like, okay, well, that was interesting. Anyway, further down the road, blows a tire, pulls off to the side, starts changing the tire, and the car pulls back up. The guys come out, and they are werehyenas. There you go. Let's just get into it. Let's just say it how it is. I don't recall the name of the actual folklore creature, so I'm just going to say werehyenas, but it is an actual creature in African folklore. So that was part of what intrigued me of wanting to see this movie. You don't often see anything from African folklore in movies. That said, not exactly going to say that it was, doing the legends justice. Anyway, let's keep going. Basically, a woman is torn apart and eaten, like really torn apart. They eat the baby too. That's great. They don't show them eating the baby, but it's very, very, very clear that they ate the baby. Fantastic. A little later in the evening, some people show up, some dudes, and they see it and they're like, let's check it out. You see, like, literally they see like a torso with half of the body missing and like flesh and organs and everything. They're like, let's go take a look. So they pull over and I guess we should call the cops, which they do. Great. Anyway, police come and we're introduced to another character who shows up pretty quickly after, by the name of Briggs. So he's sort of our, I guess we'll call him storyteller, because there are even parts where they cut the movie to have him at a campfire telling a part of the story. That's a choice. Anyway, Briggs shows up. They call him Crazy Briggs because he thinks there's werehyenas, right? So that's cool. Anyway, the cops obviously don't believe him and shoo him away and all that. Cut to the city. Some guy comes in. This is a character that we know as Ganon, not Ganondorf, not the pig creature from The Legend of Zelda, but that's his name. So, obviously I have that association in my head the whole time, but okay. Anyway, Ganon is the husband of the woman who was mutilated. So he's obviously not doing too great, right? He's pissed off at the cops, like, you gotta find who did this, etc. Whole thing. The cops don't have much to go by, which is fair. I mean, could be an animal, could be someone who just went through town. Like, it's likely not someone that's living there, they're thinking, whatever. Anyway, he's not impressed with the police work. He's leaving in a huff. Sip of tea time, you're saying? Power Rangers, hell yeah. Should I review the Power Rangers movie one day? No. Maybe. Anyway, outside he is met by Briggs, who's like, I know who killed your wife, and all that stuff. And he takes him and they basically bond, and he tells him the story of everything that's happened. And then we cut to, I guess, like 2 years later, or a couple months later, or whatever, where they're both basically now werehyena hunters, like professional. So I guess Briggs taught him everything he knows, and that's where we're going with this. There's a little side story that, at first, I'll be honest, I had no idea what the point of it was. So, excuse me, I'm still sick. Yeah, I know. What the hell? Anyway, we got some some gang troubles. We got a white gang and a Hispanic gang, and it all starts with the white gang pulling up to, I guess, the uncle or grandfather or something of like the Hispanic gang's leader and saying racist stuff, which obviously not cool, right? Anyway, that's a whole side story. I'm not going to go too much into that because it doesn't really matter, but let's just say their first encounter involves the Hispanic gang leader holding a chicken up to the windshield of the white guy's car, and it takes a shit on his windshield, so that's great. Anyway, right, so then we fast forward and there's hunting, whatever, and then there's like a woman who's stranded. This is another cutscene, by the way, sorry. A woman who's stranded hitches a ride, and some guy's really automatically thinking he's going to score with her. That's kind of the character that we're dealing with right here. And she says she's got car troubles, introduces her name as Wilda. I'm assuming that's a play on the word wild. I don't know, I could be wrong. Or maybe that's a real name. I don't know, I've never heard it before. Anyway, Wilda is having car troubles. So this gentleman drives to the car, and lo and behold, I guess he very, very briefly thinks that he's not wrong about expecting to get banged, because he goes and looks at the car and then he turns and there's Wilda completely stark-ass naked standing there, and he's like, oh, well, my look at that. He has the accent too, so I'm not just doing that to make him sound like a hick. Lo and behold, she's a werehyena. He gets getted. And that's the end of him. So basically it's just a filler kill. You gotta have those in these movies. They're important. Anyway, back to the gang stuff, which is what everyone wants to know about, right? So, there's a gang initiation with a young lad named Jasper. Badass name, I know, right? Anyway, he's being initiated into this gang, and his initiation... you can tell they're a hardcore gang because his initiation is $20, which he only has 10 of, and he'll pay the other half later, which they're fine with. And they tell him basically, you have to go into the woods and hunt this thing and bring it back to us alive. So my stupid brain is thinking, okay, do these people know about the werehyenas? Is he gonna like go into the woods and attempt to catch one? Because that's, I mean, they're obviously not telling him what it is, right? So that was my little smooth lizard brain assumption. Totally wrong, by the way. It ends up being a snipe hunt. And we have a scene of this kid in the dark forest going here, snipe, snipe, and clacking two stones together for an awkward amount of time. Yeah. Anyway. Next scene, we have another woman in a car who has the same thing happen to her as the other one that was, ripped apart and all that. But the day is saved by, the duo there. Gannon and Briggs. They come and rescue her and shoot some of the hyena creatures and all that stuff. Cool. So they are saving people, just not everyone. So that's good. There's two of them, to be fair. So, you can't get everyone, obviously. Anyway, they take her back to the house, and I guess Briggs is outside while Gannon is there, and she wakes up and she's like, where am I? You're at my house. Why am I in... Why is my clothing in a pile over there? And he's like, I had to check you for injuries. Make sure you're okay. But I left your underwear on. And she's like, oh, well, that's actually really kind of you. And I'm not saying that as a joke. Like, she seems genuinely, like, impressed that he didn't strip her down to nothing. I mean, there's even a hint of, like, ooh, this guy's a gentleman. I should, like, invest some time in him, like, that early. And I'm not exaggerating. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, that happens. What else? Okay, so there's snipe hunt, and the kids dropped off, and obviously the gang is like, you didn't even get the snipe or whatever, and they're just making fun of him. And his sister is dating the leader of the Hispanic gang. That's her boyfriend. She comes like, you shouldn't be hanging around with these kids, Jasper, blah, blah, blah. The whole thing is an ordeal. The Hispanic gang comes up when, like, the leader of the white gang grabs Jasper's sister for whatever reason, and because that's his girlfriend. There's this whole thing, and then we cut to the police station where the white gang is arrested. I don't know where the Hispanic gang is. Maybe they're in the jail, maybe they're not. Well, they're not. And then they just let the white gang go too. So it's like, okay, a literal gang fight. Nobody is actually incarcerated. Excellent police work. To be fair, though, these are not the most badass gangs in the world, so fine. Like, there was not a single weapon. They're more like schoolyard gangs, I'll be honest, but they're supposed to be. Anyway, whatever, it doesn't matter. You don't want to show gang violence, I get it, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, the woman that they saved, her name is Valerie, so I'm going to call her Val for short, whatever. She has a shower, and she comes out in her underwear, obviously, to ask about what's going on, and he tells her about the werehyenas, and she's like, that's bullshit, you're insane. And then they kiss, because that's the natural next step of that conversation, but they're interrupted by Briggs, who's like, they killed Tobias, which Tobias is like a one-scene character that basically warns Gannon that the gang is in town and looking for him. So basically, I don't know why specifically. Well, because he's hunting them, I guess, right? So that's fine. But they don't seem interested in Briggs, even though Briggs has been doing it. I don't know. It's a plot thing. It's a MacGuffin. Anyway, these hyenas are here to kill Gannon. Keep wanting to call him Gavin. Anyway, that's the point. They're here to kill him. That's great. There's a couple outside, and they run out, and Gannon tells Val to stay with Briggs, and he runs off, and then, of course, Briggs looks, and she's gone, and she follows him, and she sees him actually kill one of the creatures after being attacked very briefly, but he, like, knifes it or something, anyway. So she believes him now. Cool. And then, like, the next day, they meet, and she's like, I never thanked you for, saving me. And he's like, oh, it ain't no thing. And then they have sex in the hay. Like, this is the pacing that we got here. So, very romantic. Literally the greatest romance ever in the history of film. So, I don't want to hear any arguments about that, because it's indisputed. I think that's just a fact. So, oh my god. Anyway, what's going on with the gang, right? Well, the gang sends Jasper as like a little messenger to go talk to the sister's name's Gina. I don't remember the boyfriend's name. I literally just watched it, so brilliant, right? Anyway, the Hispanic gang leader / Gina's boyfriend gets a message from Jasper saying, like, listen, meet us at this location right away and whatever. And so obviously he brings his gang, white guy brings his gang. They talk, and then they go off into the side, and they're like, listen, we gotta talk one-on-one, mano, or whatever the fuck they said. Cool. And then, so the argument, the whole point of this meeting was, we should meet somewhere and fight. You're right there. I guess they want to ensure that there's no advantage on either side or something. Anyway. So, boyfriend, Hispanic gang leader agrees to it. It's at the old copper mine. Well, lo and behold, then we see the hyena gang pulling into the old copper mine. So we know that these paths are going to cross. So there's a point to the gang side story, I suppose. Sort of. Anyway, that's the whole thing. So let's just cut to the chase, because it's just a whole bunch of silly stuff. They meet at this copper mine, and they start fighting like fisticuffs, and then also Gina arrives, and then also the sheriff arrives, but not before the whole hyena gang arrives. And the scene transition is literally fist fight, hyena gang driving through the entrance. Well, I forgot to mention Val is revealed as a werehyena. I guess it's kind of a big point, right? So, okay. So let's backtrack a little bit, because it is important to the story. So, back when she was supposed to wait with Briggs, but she went and followed him, she's the new alpha. So the old alpha died, she took the place. There's even some minor commotion inside the hyena gang of like, why is it always a female? Why can't the males do it? And then she basically shut them the hell up. They're just tired of eating last, I guess, because, well, in hyena culture, I guess that's the way they go. Anyway, so Val's a werehyena. She's not good. She explains to him that she needs to basically just breed with humans to keep the bloodline, like, not inbred, I guess, whatever, anyway. And she fucks off in the cave. Anyway, let's fast forward again back to where we are. Fist fight in the cave. Awesome. Next scene. Werehyena cars entering the cave. Next scene. Val and Wilda squaring off. Fun fact. Every time a female werehyena transforms, they strip down naked first. Very important. I wonder why that is, director. Anyway. That's fair, though. I mean, they're not unattractive, but regardless, it doesn't add to the point of the story. They fight, Val kills Wilda, and then we cut to a scene of the two gang members hiding behind, like, a rock. So, we don't see them alerted that they're here. We just go from fist fight, hyena fight, former fist fight guys hiding. Cool. Anyway, then, like I said, Sheriff enters and then meets Gina, and turns out Sheriff's a werehyena, which, I mean, he probably could have figured that out just because of the way he was acting when he met Gina in the cave. Like, why are you in the copper mine? Very strange. Anyway, that's why he's one of them. So they're about to kill Gina, and then that's when friggin' boyfriend and white, I was gonna say white power guy, but they're not like Nazis. They're just like a gang that happens to be white. Okay, the Hispanic gang leader and the white gang leader come out. They're like, not without, going through us or something like that. So that's great. So the sheriff's like, okay, I got no issue with that. And then he gets shot like immediately. So this whole time this is happening, our two heroes, Briggs and Gannon, have showed up. Gannon goes into the cave. Briggs is setting up explosives on the outside of the cave, I guess, around the entrance. They're going to seal them in or something. That's cool. Briggs comes in, shoots the sheriff, starts shooting at all the hyenas and shit like that. And then he goes one-on-one against Val, who is obviously completely naked, because that's the way it's supposed to go, right? Or is she? Maybe she has clothing on. You'll have to watch and find out, because boy, there are some continuity errors. Anyway, regardless, he pretty much manhandles her. Like, he's got the rifle and he's like hitting her in the head with it because he's out of bullets. He's just going to shoot her. But anyway, she stands up, and in this fight, as far as I could see, she's taken the most hits, like by far. I don't even know if she landed one on him. She's like, "You're gonna die." And he's like, "So are you." And he holds up a little detonator. So he's gonna seal himself in the cave, I guess, right? Because Buddy had set all the charges up. By the way, Gina and the two gang guys have already left the cave. They've met up with Briggs. He's like, "Get the hell out of here," or whatever. Anyway, Ganondorf fucking clicks the little remote thing, and explosions within the mine happen and engulf all of them in flames. So I don't know how that works. Because they were setting charges at the entrance of the cave, unless he had them on him, but the explosion came from behind, deeper. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It blows up. Self-sacrifice. Those hyenas are all dead. And then we cut back to Briggs saying, "Yeah, well, we lost Ganon that day. You never forget a thing like that. But, I got some new recruits." Then we see Gina and the two gang leaders come in kind of like somewhat slow motion with guns, I guess, ready to join the hunt. And that's that. And then we get like I can't remember if it's mid-credits or like just before the credits scene or whatever of LA, where there's a bar scene and two girls are in there, and then you see two guys that are wearing shades. So the male hyenas always wore shades because their eyes are glowing slightly red, so I guess it's to cover that. So you're like, "Oh, well, here we go." Then you see them go into a car. Or no, you see them pick up these girls and take them out, and then you see a car parked, and the car parked is like the exact same car as the one that the werehyenas in the other area had. But oh no, it turns out that the women are the werehyenas, and they kill the guys with the glasses that are you're supposed to think are anyway. The end. So that's the film. Literally, that's it. That's the end. What did I think of this cinematic masterpiece? Well, boy. Some of the reviews were a little harsher than they needed to be, because really when I set a bar for how bad is a movie going to be, is it as bad as Carnosaur? And no, this is better than Carnosaur. So, yeah, anyone saying it's like the worst movie ever made is wrong, because Carnosaur exists. I mean, there's worse movies than that even too, but as far as things I've seen, that's worse. Anyway, let's talk about the actual reasons why it's kind of not great. Well, the pacing was weird. Like, we would go from one scene to another scene to another scene, or back to another scene with... It felt very choppy. like I said, the one scene near the climax, you have an event happening that's sort of big and important to the plot, and then something happens, and then something else happens that's also big to the plot, and then the thing that we didn't see much of is resolved already, and they're doing another thing without us. Anyway, it doesn't. I don't know. So there's that. There are some continuity errors. I'm usually not too harsh on that, though. The acting is... it's not good. There's a lot of nudity for the sake of having nudity, I think. Like, that's gonna sell a horror movie, I know. Yeah. But it just seemed... I mean, I guess it's not completely unnecessary, but the way they did it made it feel like it was to put a naked girl on screen, not because this is part of the mythos of the creature, even though there's been other movies where the creature, the woman, is naked when she's still in human form, and it fits the flow of the story, and it's not just, oh, you just want a naked woman on the screen. Well, this felt like they just wanted a naked girl on the screen. Whatever. Again, that's not a thing that I care too much about either. Like, I'm not going to make it lose points for that specifically. I don't care about that. But the CGI is where we have some problems. So, in the first part of the film, I might be misremembering it, but when they're, like, showing the creatures in, like, a wooded area, the CGI didn't seem so bad. But later, in the later half of the movie, where you're seeing them more, it really shows how bad it is. And I know if you got a small budget, you're not going to be able to rent trained hyenas or anything like that. I get it, dude. I do. But, wow. Like, it looked like... I'm trying to think of a generation of console, like, gaming console graphics. Like, maybe PS1? PS2, maybe? Like, there were, like, individual furs, sort of, but it, like... Yeah, I'd say, like, PS2 graphics. Good PS2 graphics, maybe? Is that fair? I don't know. Trying to remember what PS2 graphics look like now. It's been a while. But anyway, not good. The story itself, it's fine. Like, it's just the way it was done that wasn't great. I mean, I feel like even the big reveal and all that, even though it's a little cliche, is not horrible. I mean, like, the story itself had a way better budget and been, like, shot, directed, and paced better. Could have been okay, like a B-movie type fun. This was definitely like a passion project, though, with no budget. And, I mean, I'm not gonna shit on it for that either, because you know what? The guy had a movie and he filmed it and he did it. So, props for doing that. Like, I wouldn't be able to do that at all. So, good on him for that. But, I mean, again, when we're, comparing it to other films that are similar to it, this is on the lower end of quality. Now, the biggest issue I have is the choppiness. Like, that's just really... the flow, or lack of it, it felt like a movie should have, like, waves, you know what I mean? Or, like, a hill that you go up and down or something. This felt like... I don't even know how to describe it. Like a point graph, you know what I mean? Where it's just, like, everything's all over the place. You got, like, whatever. It was weird. The one thing that I did genuinely like, though, because I always want to find something good about these movies that are not very good, is the fact that someone actually took a legitimate folklore creature that you do not see in films and made a film about it. In this case, the werehyena. Now, again, I don't remember off the top of my head what the actual folklore creature is called, so I've just been calling it werehyenas. They never actually call them werehyenas in the movie either. But they don't say, like, what the actual creature is. I guess maybe because there's so many. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. I don't think this is really a spoiler, so I'm gonna just add it in here. Like, we know there are werehyenas, but it's explained that they came... Excuse me. One day I won't be sick, and it'll be fantastic. So how they got to America, right? Why would there... Well... during the slave trade, they came over on a slave boat, apparently, and the people that were bringing the slaves didn't realize what they were, and then, okay, so then why are there, like, multiple races up the wall? Because they're breeding with people. There you go. Anyway, I don't count that as a spoiler, so I'm not going to, like, not tell you that, because it's kind of an interesting little thing. Like, see, little details like that make me feel that there was something here. There was definitely something here. It just was not executed in a way that showcased the potential of it. So, without rambling on further, what am I going to rate it? Oh man, it's kind of a tough one. I don't like being too mean to these more independent films with like very low budgets, but I have to be honest as well. So, given everything, the fact that it was done quite poorly, but I did see the potential in several aspects of it, I'm going to give it a 4.1. I think that's generous without being too generous. You know, I think that's a fair compromise for the factors of whatever. Anyway, that's my rating, 4.1. Should you watch it? If you want to, if you're into these movies that are like so bad that they're kind of like interesting, they're intriguing, then yeah, check it out. But you know, if you want to see like a real legitimate movie, don't worry about this one at all. This is more of a curiosity, killed the hyena. Oh, God. Fun fact, hyenas are actually more closely related to cats than they are to dogs. They're actually in the feline, or Felidae, or whatever it's called, genetic branch. I'm not a scientist, but I always thought that was kind of cool because they look like little puppy cats. So there we go. On that note, that horrifying term puppy cat, we will end it here. So check it out or don't. If you've seen this one, let me know what you think. Oh my God. Okay. Ignore that. That's fishing for compliments. Unless you really feel like commenting, don't, because I don't want to be fishing for comments. Oh my God. That is my cue to end it. So we're going to end it. Take her easy. Bye.